got Jarvus Turnley here, and Danavan Hylton is one of our regulars that we have in once a month, but he's been trying to get Jarvus in here for a while. And before I go to the break, though, what kind of a referee is he? Is he fair? Is he good?
He's a fair referee. I give him credit. He's great with the kids, and he explains to the kids what they do wrong, and if a coach get out of line, he say, "Hey, coach, step back."
So he's a good one. I figure that smile, he'd be like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." That's a tough job to be the ref and that kind of stuff. It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I got to call you on that." So I was wondering how he's perceived. I figured everybody loved him, but anyway, let's take a second here, and I'm going to talk about my friends at Corbin Creek Greenhouse. The kids that are growing up in the community right now. So where do y'all want to go next?
Well, and I want to, before we get to the next segment, I want to reiterate some of the points that Jarvus made, but I also want to make a statement. It could be controversial, but some of the living history is being shown in more than one way. I'm not sure if Jarvus was aware or the viewers, and I say humbly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but U-Turn has had experience serving as the chairperson for the local Republican Party here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I could be speaking out of ignorance, but I believe Jarvus is currently serving as the vice chair of the Democratic Party here.
Awesome. Okay.
And it's not the thing is, I want the viewers to see, first of all, when it comes to living Black history, that we can unite, and not only in color, but also in civics, if you will. And I want to go back real quick to two of my three values that I always talked about. The first value was that President George Washington warned that political parties would lead to division and fighting amongst the people. And it's very important right now in this country, if we are true citizens of this country, that we have to be able to put aside certain differences, and like Jarvus and U-Turn said, is come out with the facts, come out with the numbers, come out with the level head. And that takes me into my second or third value, which is using emotional intelligence. Which is the capacity to be aware of, control, express one's emotions, and to handle communication between people with good judgment, good sense, and with the ability to step into the shoes of another person and understand their feelings and perspectives to guide their actions. And U-Turn made a few good points on that in regards to sometimes individuals may come from backgrounds where there's people in the homes, and we can't take that for granted. And Jarvus also spoke on, the challenges that the community has faced. So this is to me, this is living history again. And I just wanted to point that out, especially for the young folks that say it can't be done, and it can be. And
absolutely.
With that being said, I want to bring back to some of the points that Jarvus made in the last segment. Was one, we probably, and maybe U-Turn, you can help us on this. This is how we continue to grow. Because I had a chance to connect with U-Turn during the Meals on Wheels, and that was our first activity outside of our traditional times of engagement. But what does, and we can get Jarvus in on this, what does a virtual town hall look like, for our federal elected officials that represent our district, for our state representatives that represent our district, and for our local representatives that represent our districts. And this is something we could just come up with. I'm taking notes, what does that look like? And some of the words or the titles that came to my mind from listening to you guys was, let's see.
And you're talking about trying to put together some type of a town hall that is not in the, because when you have the mayor and alderman meetings, and you have the county commissioner meetings and things like that, those seem a little too formal, but something that is for the citizens.
Absolutely.
And set up something virtual and invite, and encourage our local representatives to be there, so they can be, ask those questions, but it be something completely independent of what is the normal thing, and just say, we just really want to hear from you, and this is not anything formal.
Just like a social gathering.
Yes, and you can do it virtually. Yeah, absolutely.
Worst case virtual, because I know we want to be respectful of individuals' decisions and mindset about the public health pandemic, but titles like A Cup of Coffee, or sitting on the porch, or walk through the community. Those are things that we can use,
Yeah, just call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'll tell you, we had, they're starting to talk about the first Friday night markets, and that they're going to hopefully try to, re-engage with those in June. So if that happens, maybe this summer we can do something like this. Maybe have a community walkthrough. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that, because anytime you say, I love going to people and not making them come to you necessarily, because it's one of those things that you get into with church a lot of the times. Some people are just kind of, they've just not been to church, and if they feel awkward coming in, so you really have to go to them. You have to go to the community, and then they'll come in. But you gotta go out and say, no man, come on, you gotta get to the street and say, man, this is great, and just get to know people. But I love the walkthrough. Yeah. I think a walkthrough that would be great. Awesome.
That'd be great to
have. And we could socially distance, and it would be outdoors. So we need to get our community officials together, and anybody else wants to just do a walk through the communities and just talk to people. Absolutely. And just say, well, I love that. Yeah. I love that. Let's do it. What do you want to do?
I love it too. We can do it.
Absolutely.
We can do it. And,
absolutely.
And the leaders will feel great about it as well. I feel like the leaders at the end of the day will feel great about what they done after the event.
Yeah.
And then the citizens as well will feel better because they finally get to talk and hear from their elected leaders.
Mm-hmm. I love this. So I've got Ryan Martin coming in next week, and I'll start talking to him about it. And then I've got Billy Vogel coming in the next week, so I'll start talking to him about it. And I'll get Ann on because I told Ann I wanted to get her in here, so we'll get her in. We'll get those three in on it and say, okay, we want to do a community walkthrough, and it's just a chance to kind of reach out and just to kind of, especially after this past year of this seclusion. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be a wonderful way to break out and say, let's go? I love that.
Absolutely. I love it too.
Earth right here.
Great idea.
On 1100 WSGI. Then we'll come back on and talk about it.
There it is.
Or we'll talk about it beforehand, and then we'll talk about it after it happens. But I love that idea. I love that. See what can be birthed out of just having conversations.
That's it.
I love it.
You've always been open, to have these conversations, and your platform to me is so influential. And that's why I'm so pleased for
Jarvus. WSGI.
Oh man, absolutely. A huge shout out, and I'm so glad that Jarvus was able to stop by because this is what can happen and will happen when we can communicate. I mean, good people are good people. I mean, and this is a symbol of that. I'm just kind of goosebumps right now. But I do know that Jarvus now has a friend with U-Turn, and if there's any activities going on or things that U-Turn can help promote, at least please reach out.
Thank you all so much as well.
We'll give you my number, and you text me. It's like, hey, U-Turn, I need to come in and talk about this with the kids or whatever you've got going on, and you just let me know, and we'll get you in here and get you some time.
For sure. I appreciate you all so much for having me this morning.
Absolutely.
This is great.
This has been fun. I'll tell you, let me go ahead and do my last ad, and then we'll come back and just kind of do all of our wrap-up thoughts. We're about 8 minutes till the top of the hour, and I want to stop for a minute and talk about my friends, Barry and Rebecca Richards. Kentucky. So they're your one-stop realty source, Barry and Rebecca Richards. You can contact them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or you can see their listings at Robertson.com. Always tell them U-Turn sent you. I want to get right back to the show here. I've got Jarvus Turnley and Danavan Hylton in the house with me, and this is y'all's show. So where else do you want to go before we wrap this thing up?
Just real quick, I also want to just throw out that, and I'll send you the flyer shortly. I want to say March 13th, we are doing a community cleanup in the Southtown community of Springfield, and we're going to meet at the Bransford Community Center. I'll send you the flyer.
Awesome.
I'm the newest member of the Robertson County Chamber of Commerce, and I serve as a corporate ambassador for the chamber. And I believe we've had an agreement with them to come down to help clean up, and so we'll send the flyer out, and if there's anybody on your network that would love to come and help clean up, it's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, March 13th, that would be great. And another type of conversation we could talk about maybe in the future is housing in Springfield, and how that is affecting the local neighborhoods. Those are some of my final thoughts as I pass it on to Jarvus here.
Yeah, and as I was thinking about the real estate question, that's one of the things
There's
that
a good talk for sure. Have on the next session.
Yeah, for sure. So what are your thoughts, Jarvus, here as we wrap it up?
My thoughts is I just want everybody in the African American community and every community in our city to try to focus on let's moving forward. Let's focus on spreading love. Let's focus on unity. Let's focus on building each other. And that's the key thing for everyone. Let us all work on being better than we were yesterday. Let us all love our neighbors as we would love ourselves. Let us all unite in unity for the better for us all.
I love that. That was beautiful, Jarvus. Thank you so much. I love it. Well, have you got anything else for me, Danavan?
No, again, just want to thank you for just opening the doors, and we do want to encourage. And Jarvus, if you know of any community leaders or folks that you're connected with that would love to come on the show,
yes.
please reach out to U-Turn. It doesn't always have to be me. One of my biggest, I'm here, of course. I would love to be on.
Yeah.
And I would love to be, I could definitely love
Well,
to be
this
present.
is your slot. We can open
Okay.
up other slots.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can open up other slots.
Gotcha.
They don't have to come on. We say that. We say it's just as we're trying to open up the doors and
Yep.
invite folks. You know, they need to know that they can call me and come on anytime.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing.
Absolutely.
And for sure.
And I spread the word throughout the community and
Yeah.
other community leaders and other people I know to call you all and be more involved with y'all on a platform of issues and just talking about building the community and building citizens' lives.
That's it.
Absolutely. And it's just one of those things I told you the first time I heard this was in a sitcom called Designing Women, and there was this old woman. She was 100 years old. It was at the turn of 1999 to 2000. If you want to go see the show, it's this African American woman, and she had seen so much history. And as the ladies were sitting there talking, I just loved the beauty of this woman, and they were talking about her and all the history that she had seen. And they asked her for something, you know, profound. They're like, what would you say to us at the turn of the century? What would you say to us? And she's just the most beautiful statement. She says, you know, I've seen a lot, and she'd apparently buried everybody that was in her life. She was alone, and she just said very, very solemnly, she says, you know, we're not what we ought to be. We're not what we're gonna be, but at least we aren't what we were.
Amen. That's
Amen.
powerful.
Isn't that good?
Very powerful.
We're not what we're gonna be. We're not what we ought to be, but at least we're not what we were. And that's what we gotta strive to do every day. Is just be better, like you said, Jarvis. Just love each other, love your neighbor as yourself. Be your brother's keeper, and make a difference in this community. And this is just such a good start. So we're gonna have a walkthrough. We got a cleanup. The cleanup right there. You know, talking about the things that are coming up and wanting to have a walkthrough. Well, there's the start right there on March 13th. And I love that. So we need to all try to be a part of that. Any of us that can be. And I'm already thinking about my calendar. And I had something else that was going to pop up, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I can steer that to a week later, so I can come be a part of that, because I really do want to be a part of that. I'm going to do my best to block that out on my calendar, because that just sounds like a wonderful thing, and a chance just to get to know some folks in the community. I just live 2 miles from here. You know, I'm right here. And, I mean, it would be great. How close are you from here? Do you live nearby?
I stay right up the street from the Brantford Community Center, where it's going to be built at.
So we're all right here in the community, and we just need to get to know each other's needs and what's going on one street over, so we know what we can do to make a difference. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap up? I still got about 60 seconds here, you know, but...
Well, I will say I'm going to send these notes to the both of you so that
Yes,
we can just
very good.
make sure that we can review what we talked about and make sure we hold each other accountable in a loving way, and just continue to build the blocks.
You bet. I love it. That is wonderful.
I love it as well.
Very good. Thank you so much, Jarvus Turnley and Danavan Hylton, my guests, and the door's always open for anyone in the community that wants to come in and talk to us about the things that are going on. We touch base with the Ace and Brian from United Way. They've been just opened up great doors for me in the community, and they'll be here tomorrow at 7:30. We're also going to we always try to do visit with a business once a week. So y'all bring me businesses too, please, in the community, so they can be our business of the week. Tomorrow we're going to be talking with the folks at Murph's Barn, and that's a fun place. I went there for the first time this past weekend, so I said we got to get them in here and kind of hear a little bit more about Murph's Barn. And a place where you can go and dance. You can go to an auction and have some onion rings, and it's just a fun little place. But man, you got to know where you're going when you go there. But we're going to have them in tomorrow and talk more about their business, and then we'll have Ace and Brian in as well. Thank you for being a part of the show. This is 1100 WSGI.